Meeting to order. Is to count people and faces here. I do not see anybody missing. Anybody notice anybody missing? Okay, so we're all here, so no one has to be excused. Minutes from our last meeting, that was April the 22nd. Are there corrections or are you ready to approve? Yubi, move approval. Any discussion whatsoever? Seeing none, I'll call the question in favor. That is passed. Are there any post-agenda items? Seeing none, can we have an adoption of the agenda, please? Lionel moves the adopt. All in favor? Minutes of the agenda is adopted. We have a development report package with the permitted use report. Are there any questions? Seeing no one coming forward, we'll take that as information and move on to subdivisions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a subdivision. It's in the southwest of 2116. The proposal is to create one new parcel, approximately 2.044 hectares or 5.05 acres. And it contains an existing farmstead. This land is located about 5.5 kilometers west of the village of Rosemary, and it is zoned agriculture. Like I said, there is a existing farmstead. The surveyor sketch has been submitted and is included in your package, and it shows that there is a house and some outbuildings. The house is 19.31 meters closer to the property line, and this is the existing property line next to the road. This house was built in the 1940s, so we can consider this legal non-conforming, and all the other developments on the property meet the setbacks of the land use bylaw. Access to both parcels are not affected by this subdivision. And so staff is recommending that the country residential subdivision to create one new parcel be approved, subject to all outstanding property taxes being paid. The remnant parcel of the southwest of 11 will be consolidated with the parcel to the south, the northwest of 2, so that entire pivot will now be on one parcel. And if required, that the applicant enter into a development agreement with the county. We are also recommending that the 10% municipal reserve requirement, pursuant to the MGA, be deferred to the northwest of 2. To be paid at a later date when if development happens in the future. I think that's it from me.
Thank you, Maria. Are there any questions? Brian?
Just a question on deferring that reserve. Why not take it now instead of at that point that you suggested?
That's a great question, and we've actually had a lot of discussion in the office about this. And I've looked through a lot of historical subdivisions, and I think that this could lead to a really big conversation, which we would like to have when we create a municipal reserve policy. In some situations, this parcel has been considered in the past as a first first parcel out, or the first parcel out of, the first parcel out, because of how the railway ran and it separated that quarter section. But now when you read the MGA, the policy is that municipal reserve is not required if it is the first parcel out of the quarter section. So in the past, this parcel may have been considered an unsubdivided parcel because of how the railway split that parcel, and then there was two owners on the north and the south. But I think the way I interpret it, that it's actually not the first parcel out of this quarter section. So municipal reserve is required, but because there's that consolidation between the southwest of 11 and the northwest of 2, that becomes one big parcel. Then this is essentially the first parcel out of that bigger, portion. So I think that reserve is required, but in this case, because it is the first parcel out of his entire agricultural quarter, we can defer it rather than taking it as cash in lieu. That is a decision that MPC can make at this time. We could take it as cash in lieu. That would look like it would be 4.93 acres times $4,000 per acre as per the policy, and then 10% of that would be $1,972. So that is the decision of MPC.
Further comments, Brian?
Yeah, I guess in the past, it's just that I think we've tried to be a little bit more consistent in trying to take this reserve at the beginning. And I understand your reasoning, and it is solid thought process. If it's going to hang over that parcel, I guess my thought is just to get it cleaned up and take the reserve now, and then it's done. It's not outstanding, I guess. So I'm not arguing your logic. I'm just trying to understand how we can be consistent at the same time. Thank you.
Alan?
But I sort of think that it's logical to me what staff was mentioning, that there is the part from the railway ran right through that, and it is basically just one parcel out. And Maria, you said something that there is another place to the south of it, not to my recollection. So no, not anymore. Perhaps it was in the past. And so to me, it would be indeed the one parcel out. So I can't see that being different than in any other case. So I would be in favor of making a motion to approve with conditions.
So you're making that motion, Alan? Okay.
Yes.
Further discussion? Anne-Marie?
Well, I'm still a little bit confused about this, because if the two parcels are going to be consolidated, we are not talking about a strip by the railroad anymore. We're talking about one big piece with the first subdivision out, so then you do charge municipal reserve.
You're saying first parcel out, we do charge?
Mm-hmm.
Maria?
So in the MGA, municipal reserve is not required if it is one lot that is to be created from the quarter section of land. So when we say first parcel out, that's a little bit different wording, I guess, than the MGA. So if there is one full quarter, say the southwest quarter, it has not been subdivided in the past, then the first parcel out will be exempt from the requirement of the Municipal Government Act for municipal reserve. If it's the second parcel or the third parcel, then municipal reserve is required. So in the past, this hasn't been dealt with always very consistently. And so we are working at creating a policy so that it is consistent going forward. The land use bylaw does have a policy that says if it is a cutoff or fragmented parcel, so in this case, the southwest of 11 would be considered a fragmented parcel because of the railway line going through there. So that parcel is now segregated from the west of the southwest quarter. So that would mean that it is not the first parcel out because there are already other parcels within the southwest. In this case, because they are consolidating the southwest with the northwest of 2, essentially that cutoff fragmented piece is now consolidated into the full quarter. So that is one parcel, and then there is a parcel then being taken out of there. So our thought process was, because this is being consolidated, it's becoming one parcel, we're still going to defer that reserve requirement for when that gets developed further. But because it is essentially one parcel, one agricultural piece, staff would recommend that that be deferred versus taking cash in lieu. I think in the case that that was not consolidated, then staff would recommend taking cash in lieu of the deferred reserve caveat. But that is our recommendation, and it could definitely be a discussion.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, but we have a motion now that said,
Jeff had a comment, Clarence.
okay, sorry, thank you, Brian. Yes, Jeff, go ahead.
I'm in the council chambers here, so you probably just see the blue screen for my name. Maria has done a great job of explaining it. I think one of the struggles that we've been having internally here at the administration level and having quite a substantial amount of discussion on is how we deal with municipal reserve. Our current municipal reserve policy is light on a process for when and how we take it, and that's been left up to the subdivision authority based on the recommendation of the planner in the past. And what that's caused is inconsistent practices in deferring and taking cash in lieu and taking land. Where do we take the land? And what we're working on right now, and we want to come back to council with, maybe even in conjunction when we get a consolidated draft of our new land use bylaw, is a new municipal reserve policy. And this new municipal reserve policy is going to lay out guidelines a little bit better for administration based on council's direction as to when and how we take it. And for instance, a multi-lot residential subdivision, we'd love to take land and have a park or have an area for a school. But in a multi-lot industrial subdivision, I don't think we want land. We might need some areas for buffer zones between adjacent differing land uses, but we don't want to have a park in the middle of an industrial subdivision. So this policy is going to spell out that administration recommends we would take cash in lieu on all industrial subdivisions. You know what I mean? The issue if municipal reserve is applicable or not is another one that we've wrestled with quite substantially. And in our land use bylaw, we do allow for an additional agricultural subdivision to come out of an unsubdivided quarter section. And on top of that, if the quarter section was segmented by a historical canal, railroad, anything else, we would allow one more on top of that to come out of there because of the fragmentation of the parcel. The Municipal Government Act does not speak to fragmented parcels. So a fragmented parcel that is separated into two parcels by a railroad, in this case, by an EID canal, by another natural feature, that's still two parcels existing already on that quarter section. So to subdivide one out, while our land use bylaw allows that parcel to come out and remain in the agricultural district, that doesn't have much bearing on the MGA because that is still the third parcel being created. And those are two separate documents that are spelling out different things. So just a little more clarity and information for MPC that we do want to get consistent with municipal reserve. And we're going to be back to speak with council on their direction as to, like Councillor ADJOURN mentioned, why don't we just take it now if we have the opportunity? And once we have the opportunity to have that discussion and put it into a policy, I think it's going to make administration's life a lot easier and make those recommendations to MPC kind of more fluent and consistent. So that's just a comment on that.
Thanks, Jeff. Molly?
Appreciate that our staff are working on making this clear, and I thought it was an interesting recommendation that ISL had said that perhaps it shouldn't even be in the land use, or there was something to that effect. It's always been a crazy sort of thing since I've been on council, so I'm happy to hear that you're looking into it. And as for today, I support the motion as staff have recommended it.
Okay. Any further comments? Okay, Alan's motion is as staff has recommended. And if you're ready, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? See no hands. Thank you very much. That is passed. Going on to development permits. Shanley.
Okay. Development permit 2021016 is for the operation of a home occupation 2, specifically a confectionery shop. The applicant intends to operate the confectionery shop with one resident family member. They will make homemade chocolates and baked goods inside the primary dwelling. The applicant is proposing to be open to the public 3 days a week from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. with the expectation of approximately 6 customer visits each day to purchase goods. The applicant will make special orders such as wedding cakes, and they will be delivered to the customers. The applicant has been in discussions with Alberta Health, and he is required to have a complete inspection of the premises, approval of inspection, and obtain a food handling permit from Alberta Health. There was no issues or concerns from staff. There was one response from adjacent landowner regarding traffic specifically. There was no concerns from the Village of Dutchess. The applicant is in attendance. Mr. Davidson is in council chambers to answer questions. He is open to suggestions from MPC if MPC feels that there's the 3 days a week is too intensive of an operation. We, Planning and Development, is recommending approval with conditions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Davidson, have you got any more opening comments?
I just wanted to say hello to everybody. Nice to see you all. I've never done this before, and I'm excited to have an opportunity to interact with you and present the idea.
Well, thank you for coming. I was not aware that you were there, or you would have been introduced to start the proceedings. So thank you. We always appreciate when applicants come in, and if we have questions, there's nobody better to answer them than usually the applicants. So thank you for coming in. I'm going to throw the floor open to MPC. Are there any questions? Kelly.
This is a question to staff. Are we required to advise Alberta Transportation of such a change in development? off of Highway 873.
Go ahead, Shanalee.
Thank you for the question. We did send in an application to Alberta Transportation for the business, and we do have approval from them.
Okay, thank you. Brian?
I'd like to make a motion to approve. Yeah, I just support this business, and I look at the letter, and I don't want to make a lot of comments as far as the letter, but there's lots of businesses that come off of Highway 873, and this is just another one that adds to our community. So I just hope you use real dairy products.
Isn't that a precondition, Brian? Thanks for those comments, Brian. Anyone else? Lionel?
Only vote for approval if we're invited for a taste test.
You're hard. Get on board.
That's part of the joy of it for me, actually, is seeing people smile. Yeah, I love to share. It's not actually really about the money even. I just love to do it, and it seems such a waste to not have an outlet for what we can offer.
Well, it's always great when you can live your life and do what you enjoy to do. So that's good reasoning. I like your philosophy. Now, did we have a motion put forward already? Okay, we do. So are we ready for the question? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? That is passed. And thank you again, Mr. Davidson, for coming in. There are no post-agenda items. Do not believe we have anything in camera. Question period. Any questions for MPC? Seeing no one coming forward, I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks for your cooperation, everyone.